All right, so we talked about some of the tools we use for arm care, and I just want to talk a little bit about my philosophy in what to do for arm care and how we're going to do that inside, especially for high school kids in northern areas. The first thing I want to talk about is long toss. Long toss is not just something that you do on some random day when it's warm outside. Middle of January, kids haven't touched the ball since October. Some of them haven't touched it since June. Some of them probably haven't touched it since middle of May. And then we have a nice warm day in Ohio, and we go outside and we let these kids air it out. Not a good idea, okay? In fact, I would say that that's closer to negligence than it is good coaching. A long toss program or a throwing progression or a throwing program or an interval throwing program is a progression. It is a step-by-step way to get the body to respond to throwing and to build an adaptation to throwing from the ground up, okay? We're getting adaptations from our interactions with the ground, all the way through our legs, all the way through our core, our posterior chain, all the way through to our shoulder, elbow, wrist, everything. So it's a progression. So just to go out and start chucking the ball as far as you can, not a great idea. Okay, it's a good way to get hurt. It's a good way to cause some trauma that's going to linger for the long period of time for the rest of my life. So we need to stop that. So what we need to do is, as we're developing a long toss program, we need to think about what our goals are and where we're trying to get to. So in Ohio, what I like kids to do is take 6 to 8 weeks off whenever your season ends. If your season ends in May, I try to get them to keep throwing. Hey, throw 3-4 times a week if you can, all the way up until October. Then let's take October and November off. That's awesome. Good 6-week window to rest your shoulder, allow it to recover, and do some things. And then we can actually build in a deload. I like to build in a deload. For kids that play fall ball, you might be playing up to or through October. You're going to need to adjust a little bit. November is a great time to take off. I say nothing until the middle of December then as far as throwing a ball goal. Let's get that 6 weeks. I like 6 to 8 weeks off for these kids unless there's something that we need to work on, or maybe there's 1 year where you really need to focus and drive through that we don't do that. But other than that, 6 to 8 weeks off. So after when you take those 6 to 8 weeks off, I really recommend doing J-bands throughout that entire time. So let's say you're done playing on October 15th. What I like to do is take that time and do J-bands the entire time. Okay? Work your deload into the last 2 weeks of your competitive season. If fall ball ends October 15th, deload all the way up through that. Okay? Because usually the playing volume is pretty low, so you can work a deload into that. October 15th, you're done. You shut down throwing until the middle of December, and that gives you 8 weeks. So during that first initial phase, let's do J-bands for 2 to 4 weeks just to help the arm recover, and that's all we're going to do. Maybe throw in some wrist weights and stuff like that, but that's how we're going to attack that. So let's make sure we're doing the right things. Make sure our long toss program is built to build resilient arms and not just to go out and see how far we can throw it on random warm days. And we're going to really help our kids evolve and get stronger throwing arms.